My guest on the Talkative Chick podcast is Liz Popovich. She is the owner of the Greenwitch Cafe in Highland, Indiana, and you can find that at 2845 Highway Avenue. And I asked her to be on the podcast because I go to Greenwich all the time. And if you've been on my comedy shows as a comedian or you're one of my friends, you probably have had and tasted one of her amazing banana breads that she has. She has individually sized banana bread, and it is the best banana bread I have ever had in my whole life, and I have eaten a lot of banana bread. and It is so moist and so good. And for those of you that are allergic to nuts, there are no nuts in the banana bread. That's the first question I get when I give it to somebody. Are there nuts? And we talked about Greenwich and how she started it. And we also talked about music towards the end because we both have a great affinity for the same type of music. It was great talking to Liz and getting to know her. And I hope you really enjoy this episode. Popovich, right? Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
And she is the founder, and well, actually, she bought a business that already existed called the Greenwitch Cafe.
Correct.
Which I partake of a lot. I have this addiction called DoorDash.
That's okay. We like that addiction.
And it's on an app, and it's on my phone, and it's just ready to go at any moment, and I do it a lot. Yeah, I really love your cafe.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. How long have you had it for?
January 1st was 1 year, so just almost exactly a year and a half.
Oh, wow. Okay, so January 1st of 2021 is when you bought it. Okay, so what made you buy the cafe?
I was looking to get into a different type of role than what I was at. My other job was getting a little too corporate for me. And I have a restaurant background, and I went in there and I absolutely fell in love with it. And then she put it up for sale, so we went back and forth for a few months, and then it just worked out that was the day that worked for both of us. Clean start at the beginning of the year for both, and we went with it.
I like doing stuff at the beginning of the year. I adopted my dog January 1st.
Yep, there you go.
Of 2012. I think it's a good thing. It's a good start. Wow. So you were in the corporate world before.
I was managing animal hospitals, and it went from a very family-oriented type, community-type clinic to they got very large, very fast, multiple clinics. And then I realized that I was spending all my time on a computer and not actually spending any time with the pets, which was really what I went into it doing. Actually started out in a shelter, so it just was time for a turnaround, and my partner was very creative in the kitchen, and he would go from place to place and just get bored really fast, so it was just a good time to do it for both of us.
Cool. Okay, so I love rescues because I have a little pet. She's not here today. I took her to my friend's house, so she's not barking during my podcast, but
just sat with me.
I know, right? We could have just held her, poor little baby. But yeah, I got her from Crossroads Rescue, and they always just do such a great job, like rescue places. And then, I've had her for a while, and she's just such a great dog. But that's so cool that you're like an animal lover too.
Oh, yeah.
That just makes you a real good person. And then, of course, you have a Foo Fighters shirt on, so that's even better. That just makes you the top of the creme of the great people out there. Wow. So you said your partner does food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you business partner.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
everything partner, but yeah,
Okay.
he does the most of the kitchen.
Okay, so how did you meet him?
Worked together like, oh my God, 20 years ago. And then, I went and did something else. He went and did something else. Both came back to the same place and just never really lost contact. And
Wow.
just we're really good friends. And now we're just kind of partners in everything.
Wow, yeah, because to partner up with somebody in a business, man, right? Like you've really got to know them, and you really have to gel as a team and partnership and relationship and all that. Because I've seen things that can go south, right? When people partner together, that it's just 24/7 with a business too, Wow. So what made you stay? So the concept, was it already called Greenwitch Cafe?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. And so the concept is healthy food, pretty much, which is awesome because there's not a lot of that in Indiana
No.
at all.
I actually went yesterday looking for something for lunch for myself, and I was like, it was a serious thought. And it was like, I always go back to the same places, but the reason I always go back is because, I'm vegan and there's not everybody will compensate for you, like make adjustments, but I don't like to have to ask all the time. I'd rather go somewhere where that's their thing anyway.
Yes. And I think like in Chicago, there's a plethora of places, right?
Yes.
There's like vegetarian restaurants, vegan restaurants, plant-based restaurants that you can go find, and good tasting food too. Like I've been to Native a couple of times. I used to work by a Native. My part-time job was there. And it was hilarious because none of us were really like eating plant-based full time, but we were like, hey, at least once in a while, we'll get a healthy meal that isn't, animal protein. And I know for myself, I am about 95% done with chicken, a little bit like on the chicken side. I don't know what it is. I do like your chicken panini though, that I do like. And I feel like the chicken it's probably better than most chickens, right? I mean, that are out there.
It's just plain the white breast, no garbage on it. And
Okay.
Yeah, we try to keep a little bit of meat in-house for the people that really want it.
But
kind of narrowing it down. We're actually looking at rearranging the menu a little bit coming up, testing some recipes actually this afternoon. So
oh, cool. Oh, awesome. Oh, my soul. I want to talk about that. Can you elaborate?
Just testing some recipes. I mean, we've been, we go with what specials we have and see what people really like. There's things that people will actually come in and ask, "Do you have this today? Do you have this today?" So a couple of those items will be
focal,
permanent,
and
then testing some recipes for burgers are a big thing, but so I want to come up with a good plant-based burger. So that's something that I'm playing with today. Is something that we can make in-house too. I do not like. I know they're out there that are super popular. Is the the fake meats?
Yeah.
If I wanted to eat meat, I would eat meat. So I don't want to eat something that someone's chemically concocted to taste like it. That to me is no better than, I'd rather just, if it's going to be vegetable, I want it to taste like the vegetable. And I don't want to eat a bunch of chemicals that just pretend to be something they're not, because I feel like that's even worse for your body probably than just eating the real thing. I mean, my reasoning for eating plants is I started out just not really liking meat, but then it being in the animal world all the time, it just also seemed not right to me.
Makes sense.
Yep. So I would rather so we're working on some actual plant-based, just so I can tell people what the ingredients are. I don't want to be coming up with things that are like, well, it's got a bunch of preservative things that I don't know what they are.
Right, here's the label.
Right. Yes. And I've tried, I don't want to throw any company names out there or whatever, but I don't know if that's okay or not, but I just don't like them myself. So
I've often wondered, because of meat that isn't meat, I've often wondered about that, because I've talked to some healthier people than I am. I've always wanted to be super healthy. I just feel like, I struggle with it, and I struggle with sweets. That's what I struggle with. I I really want sugar. I really want ice cream. I really want cake. I really want cookies. I'm not struggling on the salt. And the salt issues, these people that eat chips all day, I don't need to have chips. But it's the sugar that is my downfall, because I actually love the flavor of a lot of your vegetables. And it's funny because there's times where I kind of want to be more like get more vegetables into my diet, and I'll try to make them. They taste terrible. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then some people are like, oh, it's just olive oil and this and that. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't taste as good as when I've had your roasted vegetables and your like Buddha bowl and things like that. But I will say I have talked to people that, are in the health food, or health kicks, and they are not fans of like seitan and all of these fake meats, because what is in there?
Right.
And is it that great for you? So I agree with you. I feel with me with protein, like I like red meat, which is probably supposedly the worst meat. Like steak and stuff, but I do try to do grass fed if I do that. You're not going to get grass fed everywhere. Like if you go to, and again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus either, but if you go to a big burger place around here or whatever, it's just going to be whatever they're feeding you. And if you ask so many questions, whatever. So have you always been vegan, or how long have you been vegan?
7 or 8 years, and then I was vegetarian for a couple years before that. But then I just went from vegetarian, just kind of progressed one item at a time. When I decided I was going vegan, I just, as something ran out, I would replace it with the alternative.
Oh, okay.
Like anything else, if you just go cold turkey and withhold on yourself, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Just replaced item by item.
Okay, interesting. So for those of you, I know what a vegan is, but for those of people that don't, can you explain what a vegan is?
I just don't eat any animal products, and I try not to buy clothing that's made with animal products, or I try to leave it out as much as I can completely. Just no. And some people are more strict than others. Like we try not to even use white sugars, because in North America, this is the only place that still uses bone char to refine their sugars. So we try to stay away from the white. They use it for the bleaching part. So just trying to, and some people don't eat honey at all because of the bees. So it depends. There are people that are more strict vegan than others.
Yeah.
I just try to be as responsible as I can with what I take in, and then also what I'm putting out to the public, and to be as open with about what we do have.
Yeah.
If people want to know what's in it, I have the ingredient list there for pretty much everything. Or I have people that, like the gluten-free bread, we don't make it there, I buy it. So if somebody needs to know, I have no problem going in. I grab the label out of the kitchen.
That's awesome.
And, I'll take a picture if I have to and show it to them so they know what's there. Just trying to, I went totally off topic. But
no, this is good.
Vegan is just not, you just don't indulge in animal products or anything made from animal products.
No, it's great. The transparency is great. Not every restaurant would want to do that, or would feel comfortable doing that, or would be annoyed if people were asking.
So I actually had a customer the other day, was like super grateful because they did bring her. She was counting carbs, fiber, something. Anyway, she needed to know how much was in one of the products. So I brought it out, I wrote it down, and I brought her the wrong number. So I went back and I got her the other ones, and I got kind of busy in the process, but I brought it to her, and she was like super grateful. She's like, most places get annoyed with me when I ask, and I'm like, there's no reason. Like, you should know what you're eating. And whatever your restrictions are, if you have them, there's no reason somebody shouldn't give them to you. And if they're not going to give it to you, I would be curious as to why they don't want you to know what's in their food.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? Because, I think people do get annoyed, even like waiters or waitresses, if people, even if with allergies, does this have peanuts or does this have this? And they're just like, well, let me go check. And then they come back and they're like, they think it's in the sauce. It's like, they're not really forthcoming on what is in there.
Well, and that's the other part of it, is that, your staff should know. I have a couple new girls now, so I'm, trying to make sure that they're aware of what's in everything. Because you should know what you're serving too, for sure. Yeah,
well, that's awesome, because you care about what you're putting in your body, so you would care about what other people are putting in their bodies, and that says it all right there. If you want to go to a place where people are caring about you, that's really good too. I mean, not, like I said, a lot of people are there to make money, not to give healthy options for people.
That's what I said too. I'm never going to be a rich person. I'm never going to be a millionaire, because I just want people to have what they need.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm give things away, do things I shouldn't. I get grief from it when I go back in the kitchen, but it is what it is. It's just my nature. I can't help it. I was just raised to like feed people and whatever.
Yeah.
That's just my background. So
yeah, that's cool. It's kind of like probably like family, like just very like. I went to a place one time that I felt that way. I was just going to go in and order to go. It was a Hispanic place out in Chicago, and I was in a hurry or whatever. And the lady goes, "Really? You're going to take it to go?" And I was like, "Who does that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "No, like sit down, relax." Yeah. And the lady actually literally talked me into sitting down and relaxing and just having a meal and sitting there and just enjoying it. And I was like, "This is hilarious." Like I was just going to take this to go, But she's like, "It's so much better fresh." And, she just convinced me. And I felt like I was at somebody's house and they wanted me to stay, which is really beautiful. But, okay, so when you bought the cafe, did it already have some of the items on the menu? Or?
Quite a few of them. So
okay.
We've taken a couple things off, put a couple things on, mostly on the breakfast menu, and a few at the lunch. But yeah, we're working on, and the sweets weren't there. Those are, the banana bread was just a thing he made, and now is just.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like a staple that has to be there. I
yes.
get very upset if it's not there when they come in.
Agreed.
So, and the juices were there, but now I do the packages. That wasn't a thing before. But yeah, on the way here, I got a text, "Hey, I need a 2-day cleanse tomorrow, please."
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the juices, because I tend to get the detox, which really works because it detoxes you. Celery, I guess, I think I wrote it down. Cucumber, kale, apple, lime, and ginger.
Yeah.
There's a detox, I guess. Yeah. I think I'm getting confused with the cleanse. It has celery in it. Okay, so tell us about the juicing program that you can order. I think that's pretty interesting.
So I do it if people can do as many days as they want, but I won't send anybody home with more than 3 days at a time because I feel like the nutrients degrade as they sit.
Okay.
So I have a lot of people who will start with a 1 day just to make sure that they like everything and that it's going to agree with them, and then they'll come back like a week later and say, "Okay, now I need a 3-day." It's one of each of 5 different juices for each day and a plant milk. I do recommend that people use the almond milk because of the proteins to help you not feel, helps with the not feeling starving. Although most people don't really have too much of an issue. But then I do offer oat for people that have a nut allergy or just don't like it. So they can, like I said, they can do as many days as they want. If you do 5 days, I'll make it, but I'll have them do 3 days, and then I'll make come back after the 3 and pick up the other 2.
Okay.
Just because, I don't feel like the nutrient value is probably quite as good. And especially the milk, there's no preservatives in it. For everything else, we use milk that we've purchased, but when I'm doing the juice cleanses, I do make the milk because I figure everything else is completely natural, wholesome there. I don't want to then throw in some preservatives in your milk. And
so you make the almond milk?
The almond and the oat, just for the juice cleanses. For regular, smoothies, coffees, no, because if you throw a hot coffee into a fresh oat milk, you end up with oatmeal. But for the people, for that purpose, I do make it.
Interesting. That's a lot of work.
It's a little time consuming, but it's not terribly a lot of work. I start the milks before I do everything else, and then it does this little process while I'm making the juice.
So do you have like one of those big grinders for almonds? Because I've seen almond milk made by this girl that's on Instagram.
No, because I usually just make a couple. I'm usually just making 2 or 3 bottles at a time for a person.
Okay.
So I just do it with my regular grinders.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully one day I'll need the big jumbo one.
Yeah, the big, huge one.
Not right now.
Okay, so you do grind the almonds and everything. I'm just kind of like in awe
No,
that you're making your own milk.
Yeah, like I said, it's only for
the juices. Yeah, just so that it's perfect. Okay, so if I do a juice cleanse for a day, is there a recommendation on which juice I drink first and second?
The recommendation, because I've kind of learned this process as I've been doing this, is to start with the green juice and end with the green juice. The rest are just kind of a flavor choice, I guess.
Okay.
And then the milk, I usually tell people to drink whenever it's their hungriest time of the day. If you're a big lunch eater, then I would say drink it then. If they're doing a multi-day, then if you're the person that wakes up starving, has to have breakfast, then I tell them to drink it before they go to bed so that it eases that craving. Most people, their biggest issue is day one, getting past that
Yes.
process of constantly putting stuff in your face or looking in the fridge for that thing to appear that you want. I do it myself, so I know that's exactly what people are doing. But yeah, usually that's the biggest qualm people have. Most people come back and tell me, oh my gosh, I thought I was gonna be starving, but I wasn't, and I had really good energy even for like a few days later. And it helps break that habit as well. If people do 3 days or whatever, it breaks that habit of
yes,
just
stuffing
like
our
smoking
faces
or anything else breaks that whatever fixation that you're doing. Actually, one of my biggest juice fans is my son, and he said that like he did one a couple weeks ago, and he hasn't been able to go back to. He's not he's not a overweight guy, but he's a decent sized guy.
Okay.
And he said he can't go back to his like he hasn't gone back to his crazy binge eating. He's 27, so that he's at that age where he can still do everything and get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a pretty big eater. He's really super active, likes to work out and stuff, but he said his appetite's just been like leveled back out to where it should be.
That is awesome.
We'll see. In a couple weeks he may come back and tell me, I gotta do another one because I'm back to normal. But
yeah. Wow. It's funny because I had some stomach issues. I've always had stomach issues. Well, not always, more now than before, like when I was 15. But I think I've gone to gastroenterology doctors, yada, yada, had a colonoscopy to check things out, which I'm glad I did because I had some polyps and they were removed and some of them were precancerous, which was scary. But the prep day where you have to just drink liquids, and it's funny because the list is like you can have popsicles, you can have gummy bears, you can have, as long as they're not green or red. Isn't that weird?
Because of the dye.
Yeah, because of the dye, because then they go in there, and if something's red, it looks like blood, not, like your gummy bear that you ate. And it's like you can have Jell-O. And so the one time I did it, because I also had an endoscopy, so I had to do it. But anyway, the one time I did it, I was eating all that stuff and I felt like crap because it was just sugar all day. That's all you're consuming, in water. So the next time I was like, look, can I just drink water? Because like, I feel like crap eating this other, and they're like, yeah, of course, which was hard. I mean, it was just water all day. And I felt like I was going to kill somebody. So I can't imagine doing this, doing the cleanse, but I think it is important. Like, tell us the benefits of, okay, what you said, right? To reset your munchy, because obviously, I guess if you're eating if you eat sugar, does that produce more sugar cravings? I'm assuming.
It does for me personally. I know that. If I don't want to eat sugar, if I don't eat sugar during the day, it doesn't faze me. If I eat something sweet first thing in the morning, I'm going to crave it for the rest of the day. Like I've proven this to myself over and over, yet I still eat sugar in the morning. But it also, while you're taking in all the juice and just all these clear nutrients, pure nutrients, you're not taking in salt and preservatives, and so you're not taking salt in for 3 days. You're going to lose all the bloating and inflammation in your body. It clears out. I have people that, I'm not saying like it's a great weight loss product or whatever, but I've had people tell me they typically lose between like 6 and 15 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I have people that do it just because they've overindulged.
Yeah.
They've been on vacation for a week and I feel like crap because I've been eating and drinking everything for a week. So then, they'll come, hey, please, even if you could just do me a 1 day, I gotta feel better.
Okay.
Or people that are just overindulged for a night. I've had people come in and be like, I just partied way too much and I feel like crap. Can you please hook me up with a detox for the day? And yeah.
I've had too much tequila. Give me the detox.
Yes.
That is really super cool.
And I will say that the detox juice is the most popular Saturday morning. When I was open Sunday morning, that was like the thing that people came in looking for. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Like, I need a cure for the hangover.
Crowd.
Wow. It's very interesting. Okay, so can you get the cleansing packages at any time, or you have to do
one day I can do any time. When people want more than that, I tell them like they have to tell me by the end of the day to have it for the next morning. Because I like to wipe out my juice, or not wipe it out, but like make sure it's completely scrubbed out, that it's clean, fresh to start. So I can go beginning to end, and the milks take some time, so I can't, just stop business in the middle of the day because I'm going to go make a batch of almond milk.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that way I come in first thing in the morning and knock that out before business.
Interesting. Very cool. Okay. So those are the juices. Awesome. You also have really good coffee.
That is steam whistle coffee from Crown Point.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
We get our coffee from her exclusively.
Oh my! I was wondering that.
Yep.
It's really good. I mean, I'm a fan of the lattes and the cappuccinos big time, and then I always get an extra shot of espresso if I'm working overtime, and I'm like, tastes so good. Like, I feel like it's really good coffee.
We sampled from a few different roasters locally, but I really like theirs and really like the people there. You know, Tracy's very down to earth, great person to deal with.
That's so cool.
And then I've had people bring me samples of other coffees, and I've tried them, and I totally appreciate them trying. But theirs is just what
loyal
I like.
to her. That is awesome too that you picked a local company. You're not just doing. You know what I mean?
As much local as I can. The coffee, the honey, the guys in South Holland just brings me. I can call them up and say, "Hey, I need 4 1-pound jars of honey," and he'll bring me 4 1-pound jars of honey.
Cool.
Yeah, so I tried. The CBD company we use is in Highland. They're right on Indianapolis Boulevard.
Okay.
And the lady that does all their topicals is she lives here locally. She makes all their topical products.
Cool.
And they are safe enough. She said if her 3-year-old can't put it in her mouth, she doesn't use it. So yeah, so their products are all really safe too. Yeah, so I try to, if I'm in the community, I want to support the community.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is so awesome. So CBD creams, like, are they? I don't know. I've never used the cream. I've always used like a tincture or tincture. I don't know how you say it.
So they do. We have those as well, but somebody else makes their oral products. But the lady specifically that makes all the topicals is a client of ours. The topicals, they have like a face serum. They have one that's like a cleansing one that's supposed to be good for people that have acne issues with their skin. A nourishing one that's just a good overall. Good for your skin.
Yeah.
And they have the most popular ones that we have are the salves that I personally put on my hands every night before I go to bed. The one is just a regular CBD, a plain one. Then there's a mentholated one that helps with pain. And then those are most of the topical ones that I carry. She does make beard oils. They make tattoo serum, which I've tried before.
Oh, wow.
Haven't sold it in the cafe because she was still in progress with it.
Okay.
But yeah, really.
I will have to reach out to her and maybe have her on the podcast because I'm
sure she would love it.
I'm really into CBD, and some people. I grew up church and stuff, and some people shun it, and it's like it's not weed, people.
Right.
Even weed is good for you too. I think.
Yeah, she's actually going to come to a day in the cafe. She's going to come to a morning, and just like explain to people whoever wants to come in.
Oh, okay.
I think we decided on July 19th.
Okay.
It's a Saturday morning, so.
Oh, cool. That is awesome. Wow. Okay, so let's go to your banana bread loaf. Oh my goodness, that is one of my favorite things at your place. And I did a podcast the other day, and my friend that takes care of my dog, I took a banana bread to her. And her husband said it's the best banana bread he has ever eaten in his whole life. I'm just like, and that's how I feel about it. I feel like it's always moist. It's always good. And then I don't feel like, when you get a donut from a random coffee place or any sugar product, it's great when it's going down, right? But then like hours later, you are just, you feel like a bomb, and like you feel heavy and bloated and like, even when you're not, I'm not diabetic, thank goodness, knock on wood. But even if you're not diabetic, you feel kind of like the sugar is, you know what I mean? Like your sugar levels are off. You just feel like the low, you want to go take a nap. So what's the difference between yours? Obviously, I think you told me one time you guys use cane sugar, right?
It's vegan too. There's no animal products in the,
if
you're aware of that or not, you are eating healthier version already.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
There's no animal products in it, and we use, for sweetening all the products, we use either organic cane sugar, maple syrup, or agave.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know if it's the difference of the sugar or if it's the animal products, but that's like the first thing when Robert gets there in the morning is he's baking He's got his banana bread in the oven while he's doing his other stuff or the muffins.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, I like the muffins too, but that banana bread, I can't get enough of it. It's like, it is so good. For those of you guys gonna need to go to Greenwich Cafe, but it's almost like your little own personalized banana bread loaf. It's about yay big, and I'll put a picture up when we, edit. But yeah, it is such a good banana bread, and I know you're probably supposed to slice it. Sometimes I just eat it.
Oh, I have a few people that do that, or they'll get two, and they cut one up while they're sitting having their lunch, and then they take the other one to go. Yeah, that was just a fluke thing. I don't remember why. I think somebody just asked for sweets. We were like, hey, let's try banana bread today. And now I have people that'll come in and like, I'll take everything, or people call in and they want 5 or 6 loaves at a time. So
yeah.
It will be staying when the menu changes.
Thank you very much. Please leave it on the menu.
Yeah, it's actually not even listed on the menu. It's just there, but it's just become a staple.
Yeah, it is just such a good thing. I mean, there's often, like, rarely an order I don't put it in. And I debate. I'm like, oh man, I'm trying to stay away from sugar or whatever. But then I'm kind of like, it is a good sugar. I mean, it's not, it's not a bad sugar. Like, some people are so afraid of fruit. Like, they're like, oh, like, fruit is sugar. Like, these diets that don't allow you to eat fruit. I'm just like, I just can't sign off on that.
I feel like a lot of the diets that people try that are like so narrow, I don't know how you could stick to them, which is maybe just me personally. I don't have the willpower to stick to something that stiff of a regimen. And I feel like it's kind of weird for your body to not take in any of some kind of product. Like, you need a little bit of sugar here and there, and your body needs certain things.
Yeah, I think your body needs carbs.
You're gonna crave after a certain point, but.
Yeah, I agree. And I've tried those low carb, whatever, and I've felt like crap every time I've done it. And I think everybody is different, right?
For sure.
And some people are like, I feel great. And I'm like, I don't feel like I have more energy. I feel like my brain isn't working. Things are not going up to the circuit. It takes me twice as long to get to the next thing. Yeah, it just doesn't work for me. I think I need the carbs too for my brain to function. So banana bread loaf. Okay, another one I love is the vegan burrito, which I'm not even a vegan. But it is amazing. And the salsa. So you make everything in house, right?
He makes the salsa. Yeah. The only thing we don't make in the burrito is the tortilla. He buys the tortillas, but yeah.
The salsa's really good. And I'm not a big spicy eater, but it's just enough of a kick where it's not overpowering. And it's a great burrito. It's so it's black beans, right? And like rice and vegetables.
Different kinds of peppers, onions. I think the biggest difference, like, some people are always in a big hurry, but that's the one thing on our menu you can't come in and get in a really big hurry, because he cooks everything fresh. So you're not coming in with yesterday's peppers and onions and whatever sitting there. He's
cool.
Yeah,
he's cutting everything fresh up.
It actually took a while for me to get him to actually even cut the stuff ahead, because he just likes it. But it works. He was right.
Yeah.
He was right. It's got to be.
So what do you mean you took him a while to like pre-cutting it?
Yeah.
Oh, he wanted it fresh.
Yes.
Like pepper, cut it. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Until it got, to be too popular for him, it was just like, no, we actually have to.
Yeah,
you gotta get a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, because it means we're busier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the freshness is the key with that. And the cilantro he's cutting fresh in the morning and making the salsa. It's just
yeah. That salsa is something.
Nobody will ever say our food is fast. That's for sure. But it's once in a while people are like, "Oh, that was quick," but it's more important to both of us that it's fresh and that it's the product is what we want to put out, not fast.
This drive-through type mentality, and it's good and it's fresh and it's healthy and no complaints on my end. I mean, it's worth the wait if there is a big wait. I mean, a lot of time I DoorDash it, so I'm just sitting here working. I don't really notice. I really don't notice the time.
And I think it's a lot of the time. I think it's more in my head than in the customers that I'm busy. So I'm thinking they're waiting too long, and sometimes they're not really, because I'm like, I'm kind of good at. I feel like not projecting it, but I'm feeling it in here. But then I'll bring it to them, and then they don't, whatever. But if I feel like somebody has waited a long time, or that they feel like they've waited a long time, then I just kind of recommend that, here's a copy of the menu, here's the number if you want to call ahead next time. So you're not sitting waiting.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the vibe in the cafe is like kind of relaxing.
Chill.
So people aren't, you don't feel like, you're not bombarded with stimulus all over the place where it's making you anxious or whatever.
Yeah.
I had somebody that wanted to do those wanted me to put in one of those indoor billboard things with the screens, and I was like, but then you can put your information out here and you can use it for advertising. I was like, this is definitely not the place for a screen.
Oh yeah, no.
You're never gonna, unless somebody comes in with a laptop, you're not gonna find a screen in here.
Yeah, it just doesn't go with that. Yeah, with the vibe of the being healthy, right?
Well, and just I want people to just like relax.
Yeah, it's time to decompress and unstress and eat something healthy and have a good conversation with somebody, right? Because like we need that in our lives. I feel like everybody's on their phones all the time. And I do, some people tell me that in their family they have like dinner and then they collect the phones. And I'm like, that is so smart. Because like even a teenager, even when you say don't look at your phone, it's right there. And it's like, it's too asking for you to pick it up and look at it. And I would love to know how many times I pick up my phone. Like I'm sure if we got a calculation of how many times. Well,
there's actually, I don't know about your phone, but a lot of the new ones actually have an app where you can do that. They'll calculate out they'll tell you how much screen time, they'll cut you off. I know my son actually put one in. He's trying to get more, I don't know what the word is, productive, I guess.
Okay.
So he's actually got like a cutoff, like his phone tells him it's going into sleep mode at this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the new phones they'll calculate out how much screen time you've used, how much time you've spent on Facebook, how much you...
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll have to look. I probably have something in and I don't know.
If you need to spend more time on your phone, you can look up how to find out how much time you're spending on your phone.
Yeah, it's like, I was only on Facebook for 2 minutes today. What's wrong with me? Yeah, no room for screens there. Buddha bowls. Let's talk Buddha bowl. Buddha bowl, I kind of fell on it on accident. Because on the DoorDash app, like there's like a special of the day, right? And I always call for the special, and I don't know what's up with the app, but like so we just decided I would hit the Buddha bowl and then get the special. And then one time I was like, you know what? Why don't I order the Buddha bowl and see what it's about? And it's one of my favorites now too. Tell us about the Buddha bowl. It's great.
It's just it's basically just a giant salad. It's just whatever kinds of greens he mixes in. We always have mixed like spring mix in there and some kale and spinach. They mix it all up, and then different grains, which those will switch up. We kind of watch to try to not put too much wheat or bulgur in unless we let people know, because we have quite a few gluten-free customers. But always some quinoa, some rice, and then different legumes. Some days it's peas, some days it's different kinds of beans, and then whatever fresh vegetables we're playing with that day. Sometimes some pickled beets or artichokes. Get squash and just roast it up so we can put a little bit. Sometimes there's some grape leaves in there. Sometimes some hearts of palm. Whatever strikes us fancy for the day.
I think that's what I like about it. It's like a mystery dish.
It says surprise me on the menu. So sometimes people will ask, and we're like, but it says surprise me. So it's usually a surprise to me. Like in the morning, we have to go in and that's actually one of the things that when I get new people, to prompt them to go in the kitchen, like go find out what's on the Buddha bowl today. So just to remind them to ask questions as well.
Yeah. It is like a surprise. I love it because of that.
Yeah, and so you're getting the same item every time, but it's not.
Yeah. Agreed. Like the first time I got it, I felt like it had different stuff in it, and the dressing is amazing. And of course, you're making the dressing, right? The dressing is amazing on it. And I'm always a person that doesn't put a lot of dressing on it, but with that one, I'm just like, it's going in. This tastes amazing. This dressing is fabulous. And like one time I love it's almost like a little secret, like you order it and you get it and you're like, oh, now it's got, green peppers and green, it's always something different.
The base is always the same, but the toppings are always
a little different. So it just has it's going to have a different flavor each time, which I think is really interesting. I really love that a lot. And then your paninis, so the bread, that is on your paninis is amazing. You guys make that too?
No, we do not make the bread. If anybody saw how tiny our kitchen was, you would be shocked at the food that we actually managed to make.
Yeah.
No, we do. He picks the bread up. He orders the bread from a bakery.
Okay.
Which took, we did some rotating because the one place, then they weren't coming up the same size, and then they were getting too small. And so, I think we're kind of set on the one that he's picking up now, which I'm not even positive where he's picking it up.
That's okay. It's fine. But I really do like the bread on that too. And then I'm going to mess up the name. The other panini is it
the
pastrami?
Sicilian.
The Sicilian, yes. The peppers that you guys have on the side, that's so good too.
There's a lot of people that don't. I end up tossing it. I am actually at the point where I ask people if they want it or not, because a lot of people don't want the giardiniera. But that one's that's definitely a fan favorite too.
Yeah, I really like it, and I'm not one that dumps I have it on the side, and I kind of selectively pick because I'm not a big spicy eater, but it just goes really well with that sandwich. It's just like an interesting mix. Let's talk about the muffin. The muffin is a chocolate,
peanut butter, chocolate, banana.
Yeah, very good too. If you need a chocolate
that's
kick.
So he has never did any vegan baking until we started doing this. So
wow.
I don't know. He just played with them until we got him the way I like it, even because he, like I said, he's not. Robert's eating does not correlate with the restaurant's food.
Oh, really?
He's a very meat and potatoes guy.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but wow. He just played with the recipes till he got them the way we like them.
Oh my God, I'm shocked.
His recipes are just scribbled out on little papers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That sometimes, like if I were to have to go make them, it's like you gotta translate this for me.
Can you verbally read this for me? That is so cool. I would have thought that he was also very vegan or whatever. This is something that he's been doing.
No.
Wow. So he's just been a chef in all different places, and so he's
just plays with the food till he gets it right. Yeah.
Oh my God. So then, do you kind of help him, with use this ingredient instead of this or this or that?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah, like when we started, the sugars were a big thing because the white sugar, which if we were in probably any other country of the world, it wouldn't be an issue. But for whatever reason, the U.S. still uses bones for the bleaching.
That is amazing.
Just not too many, recipes. Like, okay, now we got to find a good agave to use instead of honey and things.
Okay.
And not too much of it. I mean, most of it, is a plant product or not a plant product. Just those items that are.
That is
narrow.
So interesting. So he had to probably play around on how much to put in and the ratios. Obviously, I guess that's developing a recipe, right? You're playing around with measurements. Wow. Okay, back to the sugar in the bone. So European countries don't use the bone?
I don't believe so. I think that's mostly a North American thing.
Yeah, they are a step ahead of us, aren't they? With food.
Also, I feel like most countries, when it comes to natural products and what to use, I feel like most countries are. I may be wrong. This is just my opinion.
No, it's okay.
Are probably ahead of us.
Like
I feel like they probably, haven't used as much of the junky stuff as we do here. Much.
I would agree with you just in the fact of, I love travel, and I haven't been obviously because of COVID and everything, but I want to get out there again. But I've been to Ireland and I've been to Spain, Brazil, Argentina. I'm trying to think of more out there, not like Canada. And I will say, especially Ireland and Spain. Ireland, I stayed at a hotel and they had a free hotel breakfast, and of course, compared to America, free hotel breakfast is. It's no comparison at all. Even the best ones are not even that great. You can make your own waffle and things like that, but there it was a buffet of some of the healthiest stuff you could ever see. Fresh cheese, fresh meats. They had fruits and oatmeal and everything was made fresh and to order. And it was just I still crave that breakfast in my mind.
Right.
I mean, and sometimes we had to go to things in the morning, and it was like, and they were open at 6 a.m. and there we are at 6 a.m. eating, cheese and breads, and it's just like, you can just tell the quality of the food by eating it. Like the quality is amazing. And that's why you have these chefs in Chicago that are like actually getting cheeses from Italy and from overseas, like because of that. And so that's interesting about the sugar. And we went into an Aldi in Ireland, and this was in 2014, before our Aldis kind of got more organic. I'm seeing more organic stuff in the Aldi, and everything was organic and healthy there. And like the eggs weren't refrigerated, which we thought were weird, but I don't know.
They're not in Mexico either.
Oh,
They're
really?
Sitting outside in just stacks.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think, because I'm Mexican, I've gone to Mexico a lot. I never thought of that with the eggs. Yeah, it's so weird, and I still don't know the reason for that, but. I don't know.
Use them fast enough? I don't know.
I don't know either. It's like, why are ours refrigerated? I have no clue. But yeah, just the quality of eating at places, and you can just tell the food is just fresher. And when I went to Spain, the pastry shops and everything just tasted 5 times better than America. And then it was funny because my friend and I were walking around, and there was a Dunkin' Donuts, and I was like, no, don't do it. I know we were drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee earlier, but it's like, don't do it. You've got these beautiful pastry shops that are amazing. Like, why are you eating? Like,
why is it there? Yeah.
Yeah, why? Don't bring it over here. Like, keep it Spain, keep it the way it is. Don't evolve into this other mess. But that's interesting, yeah, and I even think our cereals, like everything is just so geared, especially for children, geared to sugar and geared to bad eating. And yeah, we have issues in this country because of it. More so than European countries, I think. You feel, you talk to these, I guess there's blue zones or whatever, people that just live like so, into 90s, into 100s. It's just, gotta wonder why. Yep. You gotta wonder why. Wow. Okay. So I'm trying to think if I've touched everything on your menu. I do like your specials, like the wraps, like the Mediterranean wrap. The one with the falafel was really good.
There's a few items that we end up repeating, and I'm like, oh God, are we putting this on again? But people will call and ask, like, what? Do you have gnocchi today? Do you have gnocchi today?
Oh.
And then I'll be like, okay, we got to do gnocchi this week.
I got to try your gnocchi. I do. So do you guys make it just like regular gnocchi out there, or?
It's the, there's no cheese. A lot of the gnocchis have cheese. So
okay.
Sure that we have one that's got no dairy products in it.
Okay.
But it's the way he cooks it, just, I don't know. People really enjoy it.
Okay.
I don't know he doesn't, a lot of places I've worked, they just basically boil it, and when it comes up, you toss it in the sauce and you're done. But we'll kind of blanch it and then more saute it in with the food.
Okay.
With the vegetables or the sauce, whatever he's doing, so it gives it like a little crispier texture to it. It's
okay.
I don't know if you've ever
It's
had.
not mushy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've had gnocchi in it, and it's hard to find good gnocchi.
Right.
Not everybody makes it, the right way. But my favorite gnocchi is in Siena Tavern in Chicago. But I'm a big Top Chef fan. I watch that show a lot, and Fabio Viviani was on there years ago. And so he has got several restaurants out in Chicago, and his gnocchi's probably my favorite. There's just something about it. It's I just think it's just made perfectly. And a lot of other places, like I would probably never get gnocchi. I mean, I hate to bash Indiana, but I would probably never get gnocchi in an Italian restaurant in Indiana here, just because it's just like, it's probably not going to be. Another one is risotto. Not everybody makes good risotto. Right. Risotto's hard to make, and he's got it down pat. And I think there's a risotto. Man, where did I have it? And it was amazing. I want to say it was RPM Italian. That is a really good risotto. And they put like the truffle in there if you want, and you have to pay a lot more to get the truffle in there, but really good risotto. So those are two items where I'm kind of like, I don't know. If I want to get it from here, I want to go to Chicago and get it. But I'm going to try his gnocchi. I'm going to, next time you have it on what's the special for tomorrow?
Tomorrow is probably going to be a burger if I get this recipe down right.
Oh, okay. That is so awesome. You guys are like developing more recipes and changes and things like
It's
that.
time to change the menu, and there's some things that the hard part's going to be taking things off because I know depending what we pull off, we're going to get. What do you mean? Like people that don't that call in their order all the time. So I'm sure there'll be items that won't be on the menu, but will still end up being available. It's just the way things kind of go.
Yeah. I mean, I think you kind of have to, right? Because you kind of have to keep the same ingredients for some things. I don't know how that works with restaurants, but
as long as we have the ingredients and somebody wants something, we'll still do it. I mean, the biggest thing I get people that don't want, like they want breakfast at 2:00. It's like,
oh yeah,
our kitchen's so tiny that we literally have to take this stuff and move it to make room. So if it's not busy and people don't mind waiting, a lot of times he'll say, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. But some things are, if it's super busy, it's just like, I can't even ask. Like and I have no problem with telling people like I can't even ask right now. He'll kill me. So.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody has their rules, right? I guess like even the fast food places, you've got to be there by 10:30 to get your breakfast item. So yeah, I fell in that trap with the vegan burrito one day, and I forgot, and it was like 1:00, and I was going to order it, and I'm like, I don't see it. I'm like, duh, it's a breakfast item. Like that's why it's not there.
Yeah. So that we may have a debate. We may end up with a burrito on the all day.
Ooh, cool. Yeah, I like your wraps and I like everything. I've tried different things, and those are the ones I'm talking about are the ones that I really, really love. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I know you also have like protein shakes and smoothies and things like that too. It's just like, and then that morning elixir, that's an interesting drink. I felt really healthy drinking that. It's really good. I kind of sipped it and let it like water in, and it was really good with the turmeric, and it's got, what does it have? Turmeric,
ginger, and agave, and then the fresh lemonade.
Yeah, it's a very good mix. I feel like all of that. I know I suffer from high inflammation, Mark, so that's something I need to do. I probably should do that day cleanse to kind of get all that stuff out. But I mean, I think there's just so many foods that have so much inflammation in it, so an anti-inflammatory diet I think is a good one, and I've been wanting to do that for a while and studying that and incorporating that, because I know for me, like, inflammation breeds pain, breeds autoimmune, breeds a lot of stuff that is not good.
So next time you order a cleanse, your juice is just going to show up orange, because I'm just going to make you the anti-inflammatory now.
Oh, yeah. All of the anti-inflammatory. Yeah, and I like that. I've had that drink too. Very good. I've had all the drinks, I think, all the cleanses, and I mean, all the juices. So, okay, so Greenwitch Cafe, it's in downtown Highland. What is the address?
2845 Highway.
2845 Highway Avenue, people. Order ahead, DoorDash, or if you want to sit there and eat and all of that. Can we take a little bit and talk about music? I've been dying to talk to somebody about music. Okay, so you got a Foo Fighters shirt, and I mean, yeah, Taylor Hawkins, that was sad.
That was very sad. Yeah. I'm always sad when I hear somebody like that. Well, when anybody passes, but that, I don't know why. I guess maybe because I'm just such a big Foo Fighters fan that, I was actually pretty bummed out for a few days about, like it was personal, like I knew him, which obviously I don't, but yeah, that was very sad. Yeah,
it was very sad. I'm a big Foo Fighter fan. Have you seen them live recently? Or right? I did Wrigley Field that one year they came. I did both nights.
Actually, this is from the last time we went.
Oh, really? Cool. That is awesome. Yeah, great band. I mean, Taylor was just such a big part of it. You have, I don't want to cry, as that was a rough one for me too. You have these bands that, like, the lead singer is so polarizing that you almost forget about the other band members, and everybody's just focusing on who the lead singer is, or there's a lot of changes. And I mean, there's been changes in Foo Fighters, but he just was so as polarizing as Dave Grohl, in my opinion. And such a fun part of the show. And then when he came out and sang his little stuff, and Under Pressure, right?
Yep,
I think is what he sang.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, I'm like, is it Under Pressure? And just such a likable guy, And I get what you're saying about it's like personal, but it is personal, because I feel like we listen to these bands, we're fans, go to concerts, see them live. I mean, it is like you know them. It is like somebody like, you know, somebody that's providing. I think music really helps the soul. Really, you can be in the worst mood ever and you put on your favorite song or you hear your favorite song and you automatically get, if you're a music lover, it automatically changes for you. For me, I get even giddy. I'm like, that's a song. And he's just such a big part of Foo Fighters. And I've seen some of their documentaries and big loss.
And they seem to be good people.
Yes.
Which is a big thing when you're listening to a band. You know,
yes.
Some bands are just whatever. They're doing their party thing and don't care about whatever. But they give back, and that makes a big difference to me too.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm starting to see that more with frontmen and things, and then even interaction in concerts. I was just talking about that, the interaction that people have in concerts where there's some bands that are a little bit more self-absorbed and they're not giving that interaction to the fan.
We went to see Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field a couple years ago, and right in the middle of a song, I've never seen, you know, I was shocked, but like in awe that he's just stopped.
Yeah.
Because of this, all of a sudden Eddie Vedder just stopped and pointed into the crowd. And said, "You get your finger out of her face."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And who are you to be picking on this woman? I don't care what she is to you, who she is to you.
Awesome.
This is done. And had security come take this guy out.
Wow.
Because he was hurt. And how he really is watching the crowd, right?
Yeah.
Because he
out of millions of people, all these people there.
And he just stopped it. And
wow.
was like, "Sorry, folks, I didn't, for the interruption, but we can't have that going on in here."
Love it.
Like,
wow. That's interesting, isn't it?
That was a wild concert. Then a little while later, Dennis Rodman came out, like picked him up while he was singing. It was a really cool concert.
He always has kind of like a guest
in my
come
head
out.
That he did that he just stopped it. Like, I don't tolerate this.
Yeah, and the fact that going on was more important than what he was doing.
Right.
That tells you he's not a self-absorbed person, right? He's not interrupting because they're interrupting him. It's he's seeing something wrong going on and he wants to correct it. Yeah. I love Eddie Vedder too. My friend got me into Pearl Jam. I grew up Baptist, so there were years where we weren't supposed to listen to rock music at all. I know. Yeah, believe me, it was, and I always snuck it in, and then, then there was a preaching service and I would throw things away and then, I'd sneak it in back, and it was just a thread. It was a thread inside of me and it was just not going to burn. Like it was just like a fire and I had to listen to it. And so I was catching up. Like I didn't know Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. Like I missed all of that. And I remember I was with my friend one day. We were at she was a big concert goer. And we went, I can't remember what concert we were at, and I heard a Soundgarden song, and I did it, and I go, "Who is this?" And she's like, "That's Chris Cornell." And I'm like, "That's Soundgarden." I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I felt like, this voice, and like I had goosebumps and chills, and I'm like, his voice is amazing. Yeah. She's like, "Oh, you don't know them?" I'm like, "No." Like, and I had to catch up on all this music that had happened that I was not a part of because I couldn't listen to it. I know, it is sad.
That is to me. I'm totally opposite. My mom was always a big music lover. Like, she's the one that brought home Night at the Opera, which I listened to 1,000 times on the old record player, the stereo with the console. And I remember coming home as a kid and you'd hear music we lived on a corner house and you'd hear music just blaring out the house.
Awesome.
Pink Floyd or Boston. And I'd be like, "Oh, Mom's cleaning." You'd get in the house and she'd be doing whatever she's doing. My mother was always big into, she still is, Pink Floyd, Boston, Queen. She actually wired, we had a lot of family move in and out, lived with us. So we had this big house, and she actually wired speaker wires through, to the basement, to the upstairs, in the wall, so you could up under the carpet into every room, so that she could hear whatever she put on downstairs, in the living room or in the kitchen. you could hear it through the whole house when she wanted to do whatever she was doing. Like, she had to have her music going all the time.
That is so great. Yeah, to be hearing it. And my parents, my dad listened to a lot of, they were Mexican. And so he listened to a lot of Mexican music, even though the church had said, so they weren't they weren't super strict. And I remember even as a teenager, like my brother had bought concert tickets to something, and my mom was not going to let me go, and then she finally was like, okay, fine, go. And so I think there was always a turmoil with music, because I don't think that my mom really saw it as horrible, you know what I mean, because she listened it was a Spanish singer at the time, and so she listened to that, and she's like, okay, they're just love songs, like,
why
this isn't, and really even more so, his music wasn't about bumping and grinding and all the stuff that we got going on now. It was literally about real love, And so I think she just kind of had a turmoil where it's like, okay, they're saying it's bad, but to me, it's, maybe my daughter can listen to this, but with heavier rock thing, I remember we had like rock presentations where they would tell us like, blacks, like these bands were satanic, and like just putting really big fear into you and listening. And now, like, I work from home, and I try to do days of the same band, and I was getting into Led Zeppelin, because I'd never dived into Led Zeppelin. And so, I'll try to play a full album and then go, and just do a bunch of Led Zeppelin. And it's like, and Kashmir, I really love. Like, I just think that beginning part is just so amazing. Like, it's just so good. And it's like offbeat. It's like syncopated. It's so great. But I love music. And Chris Cornell, when he passed away, that was a hard day for me. He passed away on my dad's birthday, which is really weird.
Now you're going to remember it
I can remember it forever. I think he passed away 2017, May 18th, 2017. And then his wife had a tribute concert January of 2019. And I decided to go. It was California, and I'm like, I'm going, and I got a ticket, and it was hard to get a ticket. Ticketmaster, it was just like, and the prices kept changing. It was like 1 minute a ticket was $700, and then you'd click on it and it was $250. It was like so weird. I'd never had that experience. I don't know what was going on.
Or reselling.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Which ticket prices have gone mad. I've had to say no to some concerts because I'm like, I just can't. This is too much. But real back to, I wish we need a part 2 just with music, because there's just too much to cover. But I think interaction too, and I know like there's some mainstream bands that I listen to too, like Imagine Dragons, and I go to Maroon 5, and I go to Bush. Bush, isn't really like now, but like, he's still got some stuff out. And but I will say, like, these front people like Dan Reynolds on Imagine Dragons, I'm always trying to do the pit for his, and I mean, he will literally look at you. And there's a song I always cry, and there's those songs that you cry at. And he saw me, and he looked at me, and he kept looking at me when he was singing, because he could tell I was crying. And I was like, it's just like the song about not thinking you're good enough, whatever. And I mean, I think everybody has those feelings at times, but I just sobbed, and he was just like looking at me. It was just so amazing. And so I love frontmen like that, where I won't say who, but I have another band that I love, and he does not do that. He's very, look at me, and I'm not looking at you. And there's like a boundary, like there's a wall. And it's sad, because I do like him as an artist, but you see that, and then you see like people that aren't as nice, or you hear from the grapevine that they're kind of jerks, and it kind of taints a little bit of I think of Guns N' Roses a lot with this, because I love Slash. I'm a big Slash fan, and I love Duff McKagan. But they could really just change up that lead singer, and I would be totally fine. I am not there for Axl. I barely record him when I'm there. And I mean, I don't know if he's changed or not
over the years.
Yeah, do you think he's better?
He's just a different person, I think.
Okay.
That's more what I would say than the original Axl, but I don't know if that has to do with them drying him out a couple of times, and his just personality has changed.
Yeah.
I think back to the Detroit mudslide Lollapaloozas, and it was just a different type of band. Not type of band, but he was a different type of person with like and I haven't been to multiple of their concerts, but I know people that have, and they're like, his like persona just isn't the same as when they first started. But then again, his persona when they first started was this total party animal. I don't care about anything but whatever's coming next to go into my system,
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely, back in the day, I feel like he's talented. I think he's got a great voice. I do. Yeah. And I thought he had great moves as a front man, and you want a unique front man. Right. So I think I read Slash's book, and I hate Axl. And I mean, everybody's got their side of the story. I'm sure if Axl wrote a book, it would be different.
Totally different, right?
But I'm just like, I just feel like Slash is such a cool individual and so easygoing. I believe the stories. But anyway, I could talk to you forever. We better cut out. But anything else you want to pitch about?
No, I appreciate
Greenwich
Cafe
Cafe
today, and
yeah,
no, it was just fun sitting and talk to you. Yeah, like you said, music, we could probably talk for days.
We will have to have a part 2 on just on music, because I've been wanting to. There's a guy I've been wanting to get on here because I know he's a music lover too, but we just haven't. Our schedules haven't meshed up. But yeah, we should definitely do a part 2 just on music, because I know we have the same bands in common and all of that.
Talk for an hour just on Morello.
Yes, Tom Morello. Oh my God, don't get me started. But thank you so much for coming. It was a great conversation about your cafe. Everybody in the Northwest Indiana area, or if you even live in Chicago, come out to Greenwich Cafe in downtown Highland. So yeah, and you guys are open every day but Sunday and Monday.
Correct.
Right? Every day but Sunday and Monday. All right. Thank you so much, Liz.
All right. Thanks for having me.